again. We'd now like to ask our next honoree to come up, Cynthia Tom, who will be introduced by Ahran. Hi, wow. 안녕하세요, 반갑습니다. Good afternoon, my name is Ahran Lee, and I have the utmost pleasure and honor of presenting my friend, mentor, and teacher, Cynthia Tom. I met Cynthia back in 2016 at an art exhibit she created and curated called A Place of Her Own, where every artist exhibiting was an Asian American woman. Now, with Cynthia's loving support, each art piece was imbued with courageous vulnerability, empowered femininity, and evocative truth-telling. It was the first time in my life where me and my ancestors' experience was so fully represented. It literally took my breath away. There are many women of color like myself whose life has changed for the better because of Cynthia's radical framework of life guided by healing, creative expression, and conscious community building. It says here that I need to take a breath. Over the years, I've been lucky to both be mentored by Cynthia and even co-creating community spaces together for creative healing for women of color. She continues to show me what it can look like to live the most exquisitely authentic and creative life. As a veteran practitioner of community arts with over 35 years of experience, which is almost as long as I've been on this planet, Cynthia role models for so many what it looks like to be a devotion of community service, meeting every life moment with intentional creativity and deepening self and collective healing. Cynthia has gifted so many the template for personal liberation. I wouldn't be the empowered, confident, and self-aware woman that I am today without Cynthia's example. I owe her a huge debt of gratitude, and I hope by me singing her praises in front of all of y'all today can be the start of that. I love you, Cynthia. Without further ado, please give a warm welcome to the podium, Cynthia Tom.
Hello, everybody. I want you to think about what you think an artist is or what art does, because for the last 40 years since I've been making art, I'm always pushing against the Asian community that thinks it's frivolous. And I want to say I have enough people now that have done healing work through specific art processes that I wish I could parade them all in here today, that art making actually can shift any chronic heartache you have. I've been doing A Place of Her Own for over 15 years now, and I have to say thank you to PAAWBAC because they believed in me and they actually gave us some scholarship money because I don't charge the women anything. I specifically attract women with heavy trauma, and it's because of my traumatic background, my family's patterns. And we work to break family patterns with this work. And so I don't want to charge these women, and I'm still navigating and figuring it out. We've been lucky to get grants, and I know how to live very inexpensively. So for PAAWBAC, thank you for this award. I never thought an artist would get nominated for this, let alone selected. And being seen and heard is so nourishing. I'm gonna start crying. For the work I do, it's been so rewarding to have this award, so thank you, PAAWBAC. On your tables, we couldn't fit them, but everyone has at least one of these flyers on your table. And what's on here are postcard-sized images that I use when I teach women and also to help heal myself. They're oracle cards, not tarot cards, which is different. They're oracle cards where you can learn to listen to your inner voice. Because a lot of times we don't stay still long enough to listen to what our intuition's telling us, and that's what I teach. So the first image on here is, and I put QR codes, so if you want to, if any of these images resonate with you, you're welcome to download it off my website, off of Google Drive, and use them how you want. But the first one is hundreds of dress forms rising, and it's called When One Woman Rises, We All Rise. And the kind of, I'm not sure about here, because I feel like you guys are all so well-groomed and healed and big achievers. I come from a family that's poor. I come from a family that has human trafficking in it, and I suspect some of you do. Because if you have a Chinese family, they came in through Angel Island. But, let me take a breath too from Ahran. So the Women Rises is I teach healing so that we stop the competition. Women have to learn to stop being jealous or feeling less than or not enough, because we are. And we can offer services and programs and rights for women, but if they don't feel they deserve it, they're not going to take you up on what you're offering. So I always think the basis for social justice, for especially women of color, but any woman, is healing inside from within. And the way I've been doing it, the second image on here is actually a portrait of my grandmother's mugshot. She was sold and brought through Angel Island in 1923. And the background is actually a photo of the poetry written by Chinese people that were in prisons on Angel Island when they tried to come into the US back in the 20s. So this card, when I made it, told me to start looking at my grandmother's pain. I had a lot of fear. Getting into any kind of conflict, I would avoid it, but because of the work I do, I knew I had to heal it. And I'm constantly nudging women to the point where they might get a little upset if they don't want to take off that overcoat of trauma. So what I had to learn here is how to deal with fear, and what I found out I worked with an intuitive healer, and she said, you need to go spend time with your grandmother on Angel Island. So through time travel in my mind, just my imagination, I would sit on her bunk bed with her and cry with her. And I'm telling you, that stuff works. Like, I've lost so much fear, and I'm able to communicate much more clearly in difficult situations. And even not difficult, I would have fear in weird situations, but that's called epigenetics. If you guys haven't heard of that, it's a scientific study that you carry your family's memory in your DNA. And the other thing is, I talk about trauma. Trauma is actually not what happens to you. Trauma is what you do inside when a traumatic thing happens to you. And if your families have gone through any war, colonization, forced migration, you are carrying that in your DNA. But the point of saying trauma is what happens inside you means that you can heal the trauma. And we've actually done it. And I want to point out my beautiful group on table 9. Can you guys raise your hands? A lot of you have done this really heavy, deep work, but with beauty and humor and creativity, and have really walked through the fire. And some of them have been with me since 2010, 2014. I find ways to keep in touch with these women. We look at ancestral family patterns, beliefs that hold you back, and then we start working on an art exhibit that says, if you had a place of your own, what would it be? And you use found objects. So we just did a show where half the people had never done art before. And now they're dedicated artists. And then the final picture, and I'll stop pretty soon, is actually me as a baby in front of one of my paintings. And the point of that is, if you have any chronic heartache, and I suspect every one of you does, if you can start to remember who you, I'm going to say it in funny past and present tense, but if you can remember who you are before the conditioning of the world happened to you. And we do art to do that. You get back to why you're here, what's your purpose. And I know the women warriors have found their purpose. That's why they got these awards today. But I wanted to say, if you can find your purpose, it will cure a lot of ills. And then one last thing, what I'm doing right now is with the Yerba Buena Center for the Arts, California Arts Council. I got a grant to work with Korean Community Center East Bay's clinical therapy program because they wanted a way to shake up their clients. They can't get discussion going. So we actually did some of the program with them, and they actually went through the art exhibition, which scared them, but they've done it, and now they wanted me to come back and do it again and reach more clinical therapists, because they're already starting to use these cards that they make with their clients. And they said there's even one young man who started to talk because he can speak to the cards. They couldn't get him to talk before, he had horrible depression. But now it's he said he's getting ideas from the cards he's making. So that being said, I'm gonna try to create a book, or I am creating a book. I just got a grant from the Services Clients Commission. And I want to turn it online, but I don't know how to do it. So if any of you guys know how to do education online, I could really help, so that anybody in the world can access this process. And I want to thank PAAWBAC, and where's Elsie? Elsie, thank you, because she got what I was doing before the pandemic, and there's a long interview, but a really good interview up online. So thank you.
It's on our website.
Thank you, Cynthia. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Wow, what an amazing group of women warriors.